Hey, how you doing? I've been plant shopping and I'm excited. It's starting to fill up in the greenhouse. It's starting to look a little colorful, and I thought I'd do a plant haul video just showing you what I've picked up, both annuals and perennials, I'd say over the last week. Um, as well, I've been pretty busy out in the backyard at the very back north border. There's lots of weed trees in there and weedy shrubs and things of that nature that I've needed to get in there and thin out and cut out. I really wanted to get in there and do that before everything started to leaf, and so I just thought I'd walk you around there and show you what I've been doing. My name is Sharon. I garden on a large yard in a small town in east central Saskatchewan, Zone 3. Welcome to my Sask Garden. We have one more cold night to get through. Tonight is supposed to get down to somewhere around 0 again, and then after that it looks like, it's not going to be warm, but the temperatures will go up a little. The next few nights after are 4 and 7, and certainly looking a lot better. We did have some nice nights last week, and then we got hit with 2 or 3 nights of cold temperatures. Good thing that I was awake around 4 o'clock this morning, because I was actually awake for a little while early in the wee hours of the morning, and as I always do, I am able to remotely check the temperature in the greenhouse just from within the house, and everything was good. It was 5 degrees outside at 1 in the morning, and it was 15 degrees or so inside the greenhouse. And then I checked a little while later and it was still good. And then at 4 o'clock, just before I was heading back into bed, I checked again, and the temperature within the greenhouse had plummeted to 6 degrees, and the outside temperature was just hovering just above 0. So I, quickly grabbed a spare heater that I have in the house and came out here and switched heaters, and I'm just so thankful that I was awake and that I did see that, because I think that some of my stuff in here would have been toast. I already heard from someone else that they had some things in an unheated greenhouse, tomatoes, as a matter of fact, it was in an unheated greenhouse, and they froze last night. So again, I'm just thankful for my sleepless nights, and that was helpful in last night anyways. So we're just I think we'll go and take that little tour around the yard, and I'm just gonna show you that part first. So I'm just gonna start here. This is the section that I have not thinned yet. It's a small, maybe 8 to 10 foot section that I still need to cut out a few, but this is sort of showing how thick everything is or was all the way along. And then just walking east through the backyard, you see the chokecherry trees. I planted these chokecherries long ago. The original ones got black knot disease and we had to cut them all out, but I allowed the suckers to grow, and the seedlings, whatever there was. And I thought that I would just leave it go wild. That did not work very good. And now I'm having to go through, clean up, and try and kill all the suckers and the small trees and the stumps. In addition, there was, I don't know how many maple trees, some good sized maple trees, that I also cut out of here. I'm just gonna walk through here and show you some of the stumps that I'm dealing with. So this, for example, that's maple tree. That's a bunch of maple trees that I had to cut out. There was a number of them here. And right in the midst of this is a silver dogwood shrub. And I see there's still a chokecherry growing up through there that I'll have to pull. Those ones at least are easy enough to pull out. But all the way along here, I was cleaning up, so there was no way that I could actually walk to the back fence here, and I could not walk this portion. It was full of trees, and I could not walk this portion, it was full of trees, and I couldn't walk through the flower bed to get to the back fence. It was just chock-a-block full, but it was becoming a mess with maple tree seedlings, ash tree seedlings. Sorry, that noise is a wind spinner. And yeah, so all that. Oh, there was also elder, wild raspberry. There was just a ton of weedy tree seedlings and shrub seedlings that had to come out in order for me to get control. I'm going to tell you that if I could go back and do it over again, I would not plant chokecherry. These are a bunch of the thick stems of these. These are mostly maples, and these are just a bunch of the trunks that I had to cut out. And this is all still the branches that will need to go to our town dump, and we have a compost area there that they accept all this stuff. I feel like I have branches everywhere in the yard. And so this was a big job. It took me, I worked mornings. I think it took me 3 mornings to get through it. And on Sunday morning I wasn't able to work, but I did work on Sunday afternoon, and it got to be about 30 degrees that day. Unseasonably warm for us, but that's what happened. And yeah, I was just done and I didn't want to look at it anymore. So here, I'm just going to put this through. Here you can see these are our maple tree seedlings right there. They're probably a few years old. So I was really dreading that task, but after I got the battery operated pruning shears, as well as that little battery operated steel chainsaw, everything is good after that. It isn't quite so taxing on the body as or on the arms and hands as it would be without those. So, you know, all in good time. I didn't try to get it all done in one day, which was certainly helpful. And there's just that little bit left, and you know, if I don't get to it this year, I won't be devastated. I'll try to, but one other thing that I thought I'd just show you. First of all, I see some mascari is blooming, a few clumps. These just seed out. I planted a few bulbs a few years ago. I don't think I have the original bulbs anymore. And yeah, they just continue to seed out. I pretty much let them. I still haven't cleaned here. I'm trying to slow the growth of these daylilies in the front because I want to remove them. And so it is still kind of a mess, but I do need to get to it in the next day or two. This is what I wanted to show you, was the tulip and daffodil bed, how nice it turned out. And I did a video last fall when I planted these, and I wasn't sure if they would be blooming at the same time. I hoped they would, and here they are. As well, I have fritillaria blooming. This clump over here is its 2nd year. Looking very nice. I really like those. I think perhaps I lost one bulb, but the other bulbs have actually multiplied. These tulips are a Darwin tulip, and the raised bed is raised about 18 inches. This is the south side of the house, and everything has survived. The tulips for their 2nd or 3rd year now, 2nd year. The daffodils their 1st year, and the fritillaria also, this clump is its 1st year. I planted these last fall. As well, after these are all done blooming, in the back behind the tulips and the daffodils, there's oriental lilies beginning to pop up, and I'll be planting annuals in here as well for summer color. But just loving the color. I love that. Also, here's my garlic bed. I can't remember how many I planted, but there are some missing. And I did dig them up and the bulbs were just kind of soft and mushy, but this will still be enough for me, so I'm not too concerned about it. But they're up, doing good. So some of the annuals I've picked up in the last little while, you know, I have a lot of geraniums, those ones that I started from cuttings, as well as the ones that I wintered just in a paper bag in the basement. All those are doing well. I do have all those geraniums. I have picked up a few more. And these are the first geraniums that I picked up. They're called Rosalie Antique Salmon. They should get to about a foot high and wide at some point. I think these are small yet. This year's cuttings, I'm sure. They open up this light peachy color and then they begin to fade and they go into a melon color and then a kind of a darker melon color as they fade. And they're a double flower, which I love. Somebody talked about these in a Facebook group and I put them on my list of flowers that I had to get because I thought they were so pretty. I just love the colors in them. The next one that I also had on my list, although, well, I had this similar type on my list. I had, I think, Pink Batik on my list, and this one is not Pink Batik, it is Glitter Pink Geranium. The buds open very deep pink. Some of them are splattered like that, which I think are just gorgeous. And then they have all colors and they fade to different colors. And I think those are beautiful. So I had to get a few of them. This flower is beginning to fade. And so about this time, when they begin to fade and they're starting to drop all that petal, I just pinch them off. And it makes the plant look a whole lot nicer. Give it a shake, get rid of some of those petals. And I mean, look at the size of that bud. There's lots of petals on there that, you know, some of them are very young yet, and some of them are ready to open. So this bud in itself is just going to last a long, long time. These are some Martha Washington geraniums. There's two different kinds. This one's got a purpley pink and white, and this one is just white edged. I thought they'd look nice together. This one with the white bicolor is Purple Majesty, and this one is called Elegance Imperial. And these are regal geraniums. They're also known as Martha Washington geraniums. I found some Calliope geraniums, and I've been wanting to start growing these. Calliope are an interspecific hybrid. They are a cross between an ivy leaf geranium as well as a zonal geranium. They're supposed to have superior qualities for bloom and vigor of plant. This one is Medium Rose Mega Splash. And medium, in the Calliope series, small, medium, and large refers to the size of the plant. This one, medium, it says a height of 14 to 18 inches and a spacing of 16 to 20 inches. It says it's hardy to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees. That's my experience with geraniums for the most part, is that they will actually take light frosts in the fall, and they're tough plants, man. I love them. Another Calliope I found is Calliope Large Lavender, and this one says it should get to 50 to 60 centimeters in width, and so that's up to 2 feet close, and 35 to 40 centimeters high. Beautiful flowers with a kind of a white eye in them. Lots of buds for a little plant. The next Calliope that I found, and I've just picked up one each of these. This one is called a medium violet, and that flower is starting to fade. It actually has been open, oh, I bet you it's been open 10 days here in the greenhouse. And yeah, it's starting to fade now, a single color. Now, I'm not a fan of white geraniums because when they begin to fade, those flowers turn brown. Nothing is fading on this one yet, maybe just very slightly, and oops, focus, and there might be a little bit of brown showing there. I'm interested to see how they do fade. And this one is Calliope medium white, and so again, you know, 1 foot to 18 inches wide and tall. I would like a white geranium that doesn't fade to brown, so I have high hopes for this. A couple more that I picked up is this one. This one is very much like the antique Rosalie, in that it's got all the colors. It's a double. It's a great big head. Just look at the size of that head in my hand, like it's big. This one is called Survivor Paper Bloom Geranium. I do love that kind of flower. It's like that whole blossom is like a miniature bouquet, you know. This one is another Survivor. This one is called Tickled Pink. Very robust plants. They're beautiful. Like, they're just thick and full and just gorgeous. And these are all my cuttings and such. Continuing on with the annuals, I picked up several Bacopa. I have a place for these. I also picked up these. This is Shamrock Burgundy. It says it will spread 25 to 30 centimeters and in height 15 to 25. I suspect that 15 to 25 is the yellow blossoms. It also, you can see how it spreads out. It's already sending out all these shoots. I think that these would probably just root at a node very easily if they were sitting on soil, much like the Dichondra that I'm going to show you in a minute. First, I wanted to talk about these blanket petunias. A friend turned me onto these a few years ago, and I did baskets in them, and wow, they were just spectacular. They're not always the easiest to find. These are called Blanket Silver Surprise. The reason being is that within the one plant, you're going to get all of these blossoms. You're going to get some broken blossoms like that, some stripes, some solid colors, and some, you know, just silvery. And in a basket, they're just gorgeous. 3 fills a 12-inch basket very nicely. That's all you need for a basket. There's really nothing more needed. And very colorful. And the Bacopa, and here is the Dichondra. Now, I picked up 3 of these, and these are actually ones that I have already, I've split the plants, and I'm just going to show you how I go about that in a second. These are already one that I've split. Here's one that I have not yet split. And when you look inside a plant like this, and you see how it creeps along, and the whole pot is full of stems and roots. It's not coming from just like one central area and then filling out. These plants are easy to split. You can also see here, there's a little root coming right there. And so if that root were to lay on top of soil, that's going to start another plant. So these would be something in the landscape. They would creep and fill in an area very quickly. And I'm just trying, oh, there's the tag. So I bought these for a large pot. Actually, they're going to go in with geraniums, Dusty Miller, and then these will be my spiller. It says may trail to 4 feet. So my pot of course isn't 4 feet, but they would be nice in a hanging basket as well. They would really hang down a long ways. So here's some of the splits that I took that still need to be potted up. And I'll just split this one. I'm going to take it out of the pot and just show you how I go about doing that. So again, there it is. When they come out, they're absolutely full of roots. And what I've done is I've just sort of from the bottom begun to separate. I think you could easily do this just by cutting as well if you chose to do it that way. And then you get toward the top and you just start gently pulling it apart. This was grown from a small plug, so there is going to be a heavier center part, but this is all what has rooted since that plant was planted in this pot. Since that plug was planted in this pot, it has rooted into all of these. This could of course be split again. I think I'll leave that just like that, but I am going to split this one again. You can actually see the original plug right there. You can feel it more than see it, I guess. And so I'm just going to go kind of around the back of it, and I'm going to pull off this section. So there's another one, and then I probably could pull this. Yeah, I will. Now with plants that are aggressive like this, you can be a little rough with them, and they are just going to respond by putting out new roots, and you know, it's their job to survive. So there's another, and there's another. So out of that plant I've got 4. I could actually get 5, and I think I'll just take it apart just to show you. So there's 5. So in here now I've got 4, 7, 8, 9 divisions, and I'll just pot them individually, and then I can space them around my pot instead of just the one plant. I have 3 pots I think that I'd like to put this in, so I can space them around and then get more coverage and more accent all the way around. And to pot them up, very simple. It's just that and filling in. And they are going to respond very quickly as long as they are kept watered. You maybe want to keep them out of direct sun initially, just until they maybe set down some new roots. But they will root. If I left these just hanging in soil, these would all root as well, all along the stem. Anywhere there's a node, and that's where a leaf is coming out, they would root. You could take a section of this, just like that, and you could pin it down in soil or lay it down on top of soil. I would use just small pins, paper clips, you know, just bent paper clips you could use. And each one of these at the node is going to start a new plant. So very easy to propagate these and make yourself some free new plants, which I love to do. I'm a deal seeker, without a doubt. I am a deal seeker, so I feel like maybe these are also available as seed. I think I looked at that once. Anyways, that is Dichondra Silver Falls. Very easy. This makes a nice plant for a spiller. Okay, I'm just going to leave the rest of these for a few minutes. I'll just cover them with soil so the roots don't dry out too badly. Here in the greenhouse, it's not that warm outside, but it is kind of a warm in here. Okay, let's take a look at those perennials. So here they all are, an overall shot. I got some of the more expensive, bigger containers. They were all running about $15. And then I got some of these, I think they call them quart containers, the smaller containers, and they were running at about $7 or $8, I think. These, of course, are my Costco bare root astilbe that I potted up a couple weeks ago. There is a video on that. So the first one that I got here is the Rock and Grow Back in Black sedum, and it's a tall sedum. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I do have one of these, or I did. I bought it, I planted it 2 or 3 years ago, and it didn't do very well. Hardy to zones 3 to 9. It's supposed to grow 20 to 24 inches in height, and space 26 to 30 inches. So it should get, a fairly good size. But the one I had in, regular soil that most sedums would like, it didn't do well. I then moved it over here into the rock garden. And I think I just did that last year. I may have moved it twice. There was a small piece of it, and I'm hoping that it will come back. I haven't looked for it in the last couple days, so I'm not sure if it's there. But I do really like this plant, and I'd like to find conditions that it likes. The next is I picked up 2 salvia in the Color Spires series. This one is called Violet Riot, and I have 2 of the salvias in this series. One is called Back to the Fuchsia, which is an amazing perennial. It's beautiful. And so I thought, well, if I come across any more in this Color Spire series, I'm buying them. I also have another one. The name just escapes me at the moment, but here I've picked up Violet Riot and another one called Pink Dawn, which is a light pink, which may look really nice close to the dark pink. I'll see if there's room there. I picked up a yarrow, or an Acalia, and I'm hoping that this one is called Firefly Sunshine, and I'm hoping that it will not seed out. Here we have a penstemon. This one is called Pink Pearls. It is a green foliage. All the other penstemon that I've picked up have been the very dark foliage, but I did like the color of these blossoms. I thought it was quite pretty, and it looks to be shorter as well. This one, it says, is medium height, 16 to 20 inches. Perennial zones 4 to 8, and that's for the penstemon. The other penstemon I have are quite, they have the potential to be quite large. And I bought a small goat's beard. Well, smaller than the one that I own currently. And this one is called Chantilly Lace. It doesn't say it on the tag, but I did read that in sunshine it will not grow as tall as if I had it in shade to part shade. This says the height is medium, 30 to 32 inches. It looks like it's just covered in blossoms, and the pollinators love these. I've got bees buzzing around now. There are some buds on here already, some spent buds already, so I'll need to prune all of this off. And I should mention that all of these perennials, like this, it's best to prune these off. I'll be pruning these off as well. They're only blooming now because they were grown in an artificial environment in the greenhouse that led them to bloom. They do bloom, or at least the Back to the Fuchsia does bloom earlier. And I'm looking at where the Back to the Fuchsia is now, and it is up and growing quite well already for early May. But certainly not at this state where it's pushing up blossoms already. And then for the quart size, I got, now I'm not a heuchera or coral bells grower, but I came across these and I thought, well, why not give them a try? This one is called Black Pearl, and these all have some nice blossoms, but honestly I'm growing it for the foliage. This one says it's 8 to 10 inches, so it's not very tall. I know it won't be a big spread, and it is perennial only to zone 4, but I'm willing to take a gamble on those, I guess. I routinely will plant zone 4 with the hopes that they survive, and often they do. This one, heuchera, is called Peachberry Ice. Very nice. There's the new leaf. Very nice leaves on that. And then they fade to that color, as well as the underside of the leaf is a nice pink. So the underside of this leaf of the Black Pearl is kind of a burgundy color. So even waving in the wind, they're going to look good. And the third one that I picked up is this one. It's called Silver Gumdrop, and it has a beautiful silvery sheen to the leaves. They all have really nice growth, and I think, well, I'm hopeful. Anyways, so the Silver Gumdrop, it says it's also zone 4 to 9, and it is also short at 6 to 8 inches. So these are nice front of the border plants. And the Peachberry Ice, short 8 to 10 inches. So they're all front of the border kind of plants, and I'm just not entirely certain where they'll go yet, but I will find a spot for them. Continuing on here, I picked up a dianthus called Black Cherry Frost. This is also short, 8 to 10 inches. That makes me think that the flowers will not rise a great deal above the foliage, and also perennial zones 4 to 9. So we'll see. Early summer and reblooms in early fall, with luck. Here we have a Brunnera. I talked about Brunnera in my shade video, and I said if I found Queen of Hearts that I would be picking it up, and this is Queen of Hearts. And you know, I picked it up when I bought it. It was rather limp, but it was also quite dry. I soaked it really good in a bucket of water, and it's responded very well. Proven Winners has these new pots, and remove tabs to plant, and then you just leave the rest of it says the pot is compost ready, and you're supposed to just be able to leave that pot in the soil. I'm not going to do that. I'm not convinced that's a good idea. I think the more roots I can get into my zone 3 ground, the better off a plant is. Here we have 2 phlox, and these are the Luminary series, which were also on my list. This one is ultraviolet, and they will grow 32 to 36 inches tall, perennial zones 3 to 8. These newer phlox don't seem to be bothered by powdery mildew like the old phlox are. This one is Sunset Coral, and this particular variety was on my list, the Sunset Coral. I had hoped to find it, so I'm glad I did. Again, 30 to 32 inches tall and zones 3 to 8. So this is a medium to back of the border kind of plant, and it blooms in mid to late summer, which has been my experience with some of the other phlox. The last one is a painted Japanese fern, and I wouldn't have bought this because when I looked at this, I immediately thought, what are they doing carrying a zone 5 plant here? you know, in our zone 3 climate. But this one actually says it is hardy to -40, and it's perennial zones 3 to 8. This is called crested surf, crested Japanese painted fern. This one is not very tall at the moment, say 6 inches, 8 inches. It says it should grow to 20 to 22 inches. And the spacing, it says, is 28 inches. So it is going to spread some. I suspect it won't be like an ostrich fern. I don't know, but we'll see. It does say part shade to shade for the light that it prefers. So that's it. That's what I've purchased so far. I think that I might be set for annuals. I have all my geranium cuttings, and I started Dusty Miller from seed, and I feel like I've also cut back a bit on some of the baskets, hanging baskets that I used to hang. I no longer do, and so I'm just gonna have to take stock and see if I need anything else, but I'm always on the lookout for perennials. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me for a while, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. See you!